So it's only 1 week to go now until the Great North Run. It's crunch time. I've done my final long run of the block. So yeah, it's time for me to bring you up to speed. Now this is episode 8 of the Sub 67 Half Marathon project. And if I'm totally honest with you, over the last couple of weeks, I've been very lax with trying to get some footage that isn't related to another video. So in this video, I'm going to be bringing you up to speed in terms of taking you through weeks 8 and 9 of my training, which is essentially the most important weeks of the block so far before I begin my taper, which is the week I'm about to go into, as today is Sunday, the week before the Great North Run. Now, these 2 weeks have been super important, both for confidence, but also for building that final layer of fitness that's hopefully going to get me across that line in the time that I really want, come the 10th of September. But just before we delve in to my Strava, a massive thank you to Soar for sponsoring this video. We'll get into that a little bit later. So yeah, let's get into these last 2 training weeks. So as I said, this is my last 2 training weeks in terms of building fitness. So what I'm going to do for this episode, being as I didn't manage to catch any specific session footage or enough to make an episode out of, what I'm going to do is in the background, I'm going to put just basically an array or highlights of the training block so far, with me going through my training for these final week 8 and week 9, because there'll be times, for example, where I went to the gym, tried to film, didn't quite get enough footage because there's too many people in the background and people get iffy with you filming. So hopefully there's enough in this video for you guys to stay entertained, but more importantly, it's about what's on the Strava. So just before we delve into the weeks, can we just appreciate how gorgeous this Strava graph looks? I'm going to absolutely ruin this going into the Great North Run because obviously I'm tapering, but it's just gone from 6 kilometers at the start of the training block all the way up to 148 kilometers, the peak of the training block. I don't know what that is in miles, 92 maybe, something like that. So yeah, so I'm really happy with how it's progressed and how I've kind of handled the increase in volume. That being said, I have picked up a tiny niggle. I don't think it's anything serious. Just something here at the front of my greater trochanter. I think it's probably like greater trochanteric pain syndrome. I don't think it's anything serious to worry about, but yeah, hopefully it will go away over the taper. So touch wood. So guys, week 8 started off with a really nice recovery run in the morning. When I went away to the Cardiff 5k, the Home Nations 5k with Ben, he mentioned maybe I could start trying adding in some kind of slower 10-mile recovery runs into the training rather than taking, say, a full day off if I really want to get a little bit more time on legs and really get that volume up. So that's what I've been experimenting with. I did a 10-mile Ben is running, easy 10 miles. And if I'm honest, I felt absolutely dreadful. I don't know if it's just a lack of sleep or just a pace that I'm not really used to. But as you can see, I averaged 450 per kilometer and I felt dreadful. I had to get up and do this really early due to heading to London for a couple of days. I honestly think I would have been more comfortable about 30 seconds per K quicker. But I gave it a go. I stuck to it. It's something that I've always struggled with in the past, just really kind of sticking to that recovery pace. As you can see, for the majority of the run, the heart rate was in the 130s. And after going up like a big hill, it might dip into the 140s, etc. But yeah, it's something that I'm going to try and experiment with, see if I do find it useful going forward. But if I'm honest, on the first attempt, I don't really see the appeal. I just felt pretty tired. And then following this, I did an hour at the gym. So I finished the run at the gym and did an hour of S&C afterwards. As you can see in the caption there, yeah, off to London. So it was kind of a bit of a cram this morning, a bit of a Steve cram. But yeah, we got it done. And then on the Tuesday morning, I had originally planned to do my first ever session around Bushy Park, being as I was in London and we were a stone's throw away from Bushy Park, the place where Parkrun started, if you didn't know that. But I made a huge rookie error of basically leaving all training shoes at home, or at least any session shoes that I could wear. So I ended up having, I think Strava might be having an issue. I'm really struggling to load the Strava page at the moment. Maybe the Strava servers are getting a little bit too crammed. I digress. But yeah, so I ended up just doing an easy 5-mile run around Bushy rather than doing a session. So yeah, nothing crazy there, as you can see. Just tried to make a nice little route out of it. And then when I got back in the evening, I headed to the treadmill. It was my girlfriend's birthday, so we had something planned for dinner. So I headed to the treadmill and got it done before dinner, rather than say going to the track. There's journey time it just saved time basically. So I actually probably did my most voluminous proper session of the block, if that makes sense. The most high volume. So I did 6 by 6 minutes on the treadmill at a pace that the treadmill says was 309 per kilometer. Now, I'm a little bit cheeky when I go to the gym. There's one treadmill that I always like to use because I'm pretty sure it never actually goes as quick as what it says on the screen. Maybe I'm just fitter than I think I am. Yeah, I don't know if it's just the belt of the treadmill isn't tightened properly, or if the machine's just getting a little bit old. But it always feels like it's kind of 5 seconds per K slower than what it actually says on the screen. So, for example, I did them all at 19 kilometers per hour, which is 309 per K. Or probably like 503 per mile, but I reckon I'm probably actually only running at about 314, 315 per kilometer. So as you can see, take it with a pinch of salt. But yeah, overall, I was really chuffed with that session. I didn't expect to do all 6 reps. If I'm honest, I only planned to do 5. Felt really good, so I did a 6th. And it's all about that just adaptability. I felt like I could get more gains from it and keep it consistent. So that's exactly what I did. Then on the Wednesday morning, I did another easy 10 miles. As you can see, an easy 10 miles on a Wednesday morning and then an easy 5 miles in the evening has become a real staple for me throughout this training block. It's something that I know someone like Charlotte Purdue does, and lots of other athletes do it as well. It's not like copyrighted to her, but it's just something I really enjoy doing. As you can see, these 10-mile runs, I'm getting a real decent amount of elevation, like well over 100 meters each time. And that's where I'm getting a lot of my kind of elevation running from, because I'm typically not doing too many sessions that require lots of hills, especially when I'm running on treadmills and stuff. So yeah, a lot of my vertical, as some trail runners would call it, is coming from those easy runs. And then the gym was super busy. You can see from the app that I use. So I decided in the end to just do my S&C at home. Just did it in the lounge using some resistance bands and using the sofa and things like that. And then it meant that I could tie in with another recovery run, so a bit of a slower one with that, which I then followed up with some strides just to get the legs kind of turning over a little bit. We're trying to start looking towards sharpening up before the race. So yeah, I just did 5 and a bit miles with Dad around the local woods. And it's just really nice to, if I'm honest, this is something that I haven't done enough of, which is just like social running. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like we just waffled, we just chatted, and it's really nice to have a catch up with my dad, which is something I typically wouldn't have done in the past because I'd be on my high horse of no, I'm too quick for you sort of thing. So it's definitely something that I'm trying to get better at, running with people regardless of their pace, because I can just gain something different from it. I used it as a recovery run. Dad used it as a bit more of an easy, steady run. Then on to the Thursday, and this was definitely the highest volume session of the block, and it remains that throughout. I did 12k on the treadmill at 320 per kilometer, which is 18 kilometers per hour. This is one of the newer treadmills, so I found this a little bit more difficult than I found the session on the Tuesday. And the reason I did this on the treadmill was just because it was absolutely pissing it down outside, and I'm a bit of a fair weather runner. I'm not afraid to admit it. So yeah, I stuck to the treadmill for this one. And I ended up using this session to test out which shoe I was going to wear for the Great North Run. If you haven't checked out that video, go check it out. The video is now live on my channel. You can see which shoe I picked for the Great North Run. And I did this in the Wave Rebellion Pro. No spoilers, but I didn't end up picking the Wave Rebellion Pro as much as it's a really good shoe. The treadmill just made me feel like it was a little bit unstable for me. But yeah, that was one of those sessions that I really was really not motivated to do it. You can typically tell from the time I'm starting each session how motivated I am. So this one, for example, wasn't started until 11:20 a.m. And that already tells you that I'm not really motivated to get it done, because if I was motivated, I'd be at the gym at probably 9, half 9. So yeah, I don't know, just really struggled mentally on this one. That's probably the hardest training session of the entire block, but I got it done. So a little pat on the back for Cole there. And then in the evening, I did probably my last spin of the entire block. I did an hour on the bike. As I've kind of gradually got the fitness back and got the injuries away, or got rid of the injuries, should I say. I've just wanted to do more running outside. The weather's nice. It's not going to be long until it's winter, so I've tried to ditch the bike as much as possible. So I just did an hour on the bike there, just an hour easy spin at home. And I had the World Championships in the background so that I could watch some track racing, which is really cool. And then on the Friday, I met up with Jamie Keir and Donald Carter, so JK and DC, which is an easy 5 miles before going for some brunch at the refectory kitchen. It's becoming a bit of a regular thing for us, which it shouldn't be because it's bloody expensive. But yeah, it's just, again, another social run, nice and slow up the hill, and then a little bit quicker down the hill. And then in the afternoon/evening, I did almost an hour in the gym. Again, you can tell from the length of time that I'm doing these S&C sessions for how motivated I am, because if it's under an hour, then I've really just kind of thrown in the towel, because for me to not make up the extra 1 minute and 44 seconds to get it to an hour there, I must have just been really, really demotivated. Moving on to the Saturday, I did a fun session for this one actually. I decided last minute to go and do park run, and that's a video that's also just come out where I attempted to break Ellis Cross, local Hopper athletes, Whitstable park run course record, which stood at 15:23. So you're going to have to go and check out that video if you want to see how I got on with that, even though there's a little spoiler in the caption here. Yeah, spoiler, I didn't break it. So many spoilers. And then I followed it up with 10 times Ackhurst Hill, which again is just a hill which is local to the park run. And I found it generally quite a bit of a tricky one actually. I don't feel like I've got that fifth gear at the moment, if that makes sense. Maybe you don't need it for half marathon running, but I feel like I've really struggled to get to that top end speed, and it takes me almost like 50 meters to get going. I don't know, just lacking a cylinder almost. And yeah, on the second lap of Whitstable Park Run, yeah, there's just lots of dogs off leads, but they shouldn't be because of the prom etiquette. Dogs should be on lead until September, and yeah, just a strong headwind on parts of the course where you just don't want it. But that's enough excuses for the rest of the day. Did my cool down and then headed back for the evening. Watched Leeds. I'm a massive Leeds United fan, and we picked up our first win of the season, which is huge, against Ipswich. So I headed out for an easy 5 miles, and yeah, so I was pretty buzzing. I was in a good mood following that win, so it's really nice to watch Leeds get the win there. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to call this loop. I'm probably going to call it like the Casper loop, because to me it looks like a little bit of a ghost. I like to give my roots kind of names. We've got the Dorito, and then we can call this Casper. Just something silly to keep me interested. And then this is probably the run that I'm happiest with in this entire week, and that is the Sunday long run. The longest run I've done in an awfully long time, 30 big ones, 30 kilometers through the woods. And then I always like to finish my long runs by the corner shop, because I can nip in, get an ice cold can of Coke just to get some sugar straight back into the system. And yeah, as you can see from the description, I took a gel at halfway, and that's purely because I plan on taking a gel during the Great North Run. Whether scientifically you need one for just over an hour of running remains to be, it's down to the athlete, I guess, at the end of the day. But I really like the caffeine in the gel. That's the reason I'm taking it. I guess you could take like a caffeine tablet or one of those Revies, like one of the little paper caffeine things that sit on your tongue. But I just really don't like them. They taste disgusting. So yeah, I ended up taking a caffeine gel. And yeah, towards the end of it, I did feel like the gel helped me. It felt like I still had control over my limbs, still felt like I could carry on running. And if I wanted to, I could have carried on to the full marathon. Not that I would have needed to do that. Proved absolutely nothing. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that run, and I felt pretty chuffed with myself for the remainder of the day, which is nice. Got the runner's high, if you like. So yeah, that was the end of week 8, which you can see I total out at 148 kilometers there. So yeah, pretty happy with that one. And that was the biggest block, the biggest week of the block. So just before we move into week 9, a massive thank you to Soar Running for sponsoring this video. I cannot wait to show you my race kit for the Great North Run. Is absolutely outrageous, very outlandish, not my sort of style, but the quality and just actually it just goes with the fit. I'm really excited to show you what I'm planning on wearing for the Great North Run. And obviously, among with the premium quality, the lightweight. Recently in the UK, it's been really humid, so I can't wait to just see how the Soar kit feels in those humid conditions, where I'm seeing everyone else just kind of absolutely dying in the heat and the humidity. I'm going to be absolutely golden, hopefully, in the Soar kit, because it's just so breathable, so lightweight, seamless, and yeah, just proper top quality. So yeah, a massive thank you to Soar for sponsoring this series, and yeah, I can't wait to show you my race kit, but that's going to come in the race day vlog, so you're going to have to wait for that one. So moving into week 9, we've got again, I tried one of these Ben is Running recovery 10 milers. We went slightly a bit quicker than we did in week 8. But I tried a new route. I went a bit off-road into the trails. Did get lost a couple of times, so I did have to stop. But I've suffered recently with a bit of a granny bladder. I keep finding that I need to pee intermittently, which is getting a little bit annoying. But I found my way home in the end. Yeah, it just meant that I had to use Google Maps a couple of times, which is not something I'm used to, but thoroughly enjoyed the run. I find exploring new routes is keeping me really motivated on these kind of longer runs that maybe I don't feel so motivated to do when I first step out the door. And then I went straight to the gym, and as you can see from the description there, I was really motivated for the gym. Don't know why, just was suddenly in the mood for it. I whacked in a podcast was properly in the zone and just got it done. Well over an hour, did all the exercises that I planned on doing, did them properly, and yeah, just got it done, you know, no messing about. Then in the evening, I went out for a steady run. So again, looking at starting to sharpen up towards the Great North Run. Going to start throwing in some steady miles, which is that kind of well below your like threshold pace. I'm nowhere near threshold, but yeah, just getting the legs turning over, getting a little bit of efficiency, starting to do the running that you have to think a little bit more about. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to feel a little bit more fresh and a little bit more snappy on race day with a little bit more, a little few like quicker miles in the legs, if that makes sense. So yeah, just a steady 5 mile run there. Easy 1 mile, steady 3 miles, and then easy 1 mile, 3 miles of basically 6-minute miling in the middle there. I'm not really sure what to call this one. This route kind of looks like a bit of like a kite. You've got the string, and then you've got the kite almost. That's a bit of a stretch though, that one. So we'll leave that. And then moving on to Tuesday, I did a track session, and again I felt absolutely battered for this one. My hamstrings specifically felt really tired. So I started on the first rep. The session was 8 times a K. Off of 2 minutes jog recovery. And after the first one where I ran 3:01, I was trying to keep it around threshold. I honestly didn't know if I'd get the session done. But then bang, look at those splits. Consistency is key. And I absolutely smashed it out of the park. 3 minutes, 2:59, 2:59, 2:59, 2:59, 2:59. Got it done. And I was absolutely chuffing myself. Wasn't red zoning at all, but just keeping it consistent, getting it done. And hopefully it will pay off in the long run, where I'm kind of really improving my ability to run at threshold. And then I finished it off with just 3 times 200 meters, just a little bit of like kind of pickups at the end of the running, just getting that extra gear. As I said, I feel like I really lack that 5th gear, so just trying to get it done, you know, trying to get that speed into the legs. I really listened to my body on this day. So as I said, during the session, I felt really tired. I then didn't do anything for the rest of the day. Classic Cole in the past would have gone out for another run or another cycle, but I really listened to the body and just basically laid horizontal on the sofa, watching the world champs, and just did absolutely nothing for the rest of the day. Wednesday morning, I headed out for another 10-mile run, and this was with JK and Oliver Westo, again in the woods. But for some reason, there was like this unspoken thing of JK attempting to drop me on the hills. Just he suddenly started putting in these spurts on the hills, but I didn't let him go. But that's why I put steezy rather than easy, just because I did feel like I was starting to work a little bit up those hills. But again, getting the miles in, getting that aerobic capacity going, and really hoping that this time on feet is going to prove kind of dividends when it comes to the Great North Run. But yeah, time will tell. And then following this run, I again headed to the gym, an hour and 9 minutes. So I was pretty motivated to do it because, as you can see in the description there, the long taper started on the Thursday. So yeah, I was just really motivated to kind of get to the Thursday, and that's when you kind of start to feel like I'm in race mode. 10 days out from the race, starting to taper. I learned a lot of things from Philly Bowden's half marathon taper video. So if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. Honestly, I learned tons from it, and I would consider myself a pretty seasoned runner. So definitely go and watch that if you're worried about how to taper for your next half marathon race. And then that Wednesday evening, I headed out for an easy 5-mile run, recovery run with Grace, my sister. Again, just into the woods. We just had a chat, a little catch up, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Nothing more to report home there. So this is where the long taper starts, if you like. So Thursday, I did a 20-minute tempo on the treadmill, whereas obviously the week before I'd done pretty much a 40-minute tempo. So I'm not saying cut your mileage in half or intensity in half, but I just felt absolutely knackered. So I used this as like getting the legs turning, but also letting the body recover a little bit and not going too far into the red zone. You know, I don't want to be tired already and then just absolutely hammer a workout. So I just took my foot off the pedal a little bit and just did 20 minutes. And then again, did absolutely nothing for the rest of the day. So I think getting to this kind of the peak of the training block, especially that 8th week, it all kind of started to catch up on me. So I really prioritized rest in this 9th week. If I needed to rest, I took it. And that's what I did on a Friday. As you can see, week 9.5 does not exist because I did absolutely nothing. On the Friday, actually, you know what? I think I went for brunch. I went out for brunch, ate a lot of food, tried to recover as best I could, ready for a Saturday session. And on the Friday as well, I went for a sports massage. It wasn't actually planned. I didn't have it planned. I was just kind of scrolling on my phone and a little advert came up. Bosh, can you fit me in today? 45 minutes down the road. And got a nice little massage just to get the legs kind of feeling a little bit fresher. And they definitely did. On the Saturday session, I felt like I definitely recovered a little bit better, had a nice sleep the night before. So I did a solo session around Canterbury, a 10-minute tempo, followed by 16 times a minute on, minute off. As you can see, local legend. Can't be upset about that. But this little loop here, anyone that lives locally in Canterbury, it looks like pretty straightforward, but it's actually a bit of a nightmare. There's loads of like kind of right angle bends and corners, or hidden corners where you can't see if anyone's coming around the other side. You have to run through a car park. One side's uphill, one side's downhill. So yeah, overall, I just completely disregarded pace because it all depending on where I started the reps at. Some were quick, some were slow, and as you can see, yeah, it's just a bit of a roller coaster, all of those rep paces up and down. But yeah, overall got it done again, legs feeling good, and I'm hoping it's all just going to come together when it comes to race day next week. Then in the afternoon, I did my S&C whilst watching the Leeds game. We drew 0-0, so I mean, yeah, as you can see, it's safe to say my minutes plank was more exciting than the Leeds game. Yeah, just nothing more to write home about really. The S&C was just as boring as the Leeds game was. And then following that, I went out for another easy 5 miles around, similar to the Casper route, but not identical. And I've been doing this thing recently where I finish my runs about 1 kilometre away from home, so I can use that as like an extended cool down and just walk back home, which I'm really enjoying. As you can see, I enjoyed that. So yeah, nothing crazy there, but yeah, legs starting to feel like they're coming together a little bit, having that extra rest and taking that full rest day, which has been a while since I'd had a rest day. So yeah, it was good to get that done. And then yeah, we finished off the week with a run that I did this morning. I did 13 miles, so just a half marathon this morning. So I've reduced it from the 30k last week to 21k this week. And then each of my runs going forward into this final week into the Great North Run are going to be reduced by at least 20 to 40%. Reducing the volume, maintaining the intensity, that's the idea. So if I would have done 10 miles at 7-minute miling, I'll then do my 7 or 8 miles at 7-minute miling. So the volume's reduced, legs will start to feel fresher, hopefully. But again, if you want to see like more in detail about how to taper properly, do check out Fiddy's video. She's a little bit more qualified when it comes to talking about half marathon tapers than I am. But yeah, we just got this done. I slept absolutely dreadfully this night, so last night, kind of chopping and changing, couldn't get comfortable, couldn't get a nice temperature, so I ended up sleeping on the sofa in the lounge, which is something I definitely don't do often. So I got up, had a leisurely morning, watched the big half, watched Jack Rowe storm to a victory there at the big half, and then I went out for a run completely solo at 10:05. You can see there, came back, had lunch, and yeah, just looking forward to kind of letting the legs unwind a little bit and rest and recover, ready for Sunday's race. So yeah, that's week 9, and we finished on 124 kilometers for the week. And as you can see, weight training has been pretty consistent throughout, about 3 hours a week roughly, and then the riding, so the cycling has just kind of gradually just come down ever so slightly until I did absolutely none this week. So yeah, living life on the legs rather than the wheels. Oh, just actually one thing to add quickly. I've got some videos planned coming out this week where I'm going to hopefully preview the Great North Run, but also like tie in with like a beginner's guide sort of thing. So it's going to be useful for all runners, whether you're running it, whether you're just interested in how I'm planning on racing it, that sort of style. And yeah, and then obviously we've got the race day vlog, which will be the entire weekend of the Great North Run essentially. So yeah, anyway, so thank you for tuning into episode 8 of the Sub 67 Half Marathon project. I apologise for the lack of a different session this week, but yeah, just been super busy, and all in all just been focusing on the race and getting everything right. You know, I'd rather focus on getting the session done, sacrifice the content rather than the other way around essentially. So yeah, thanks for all the support so far. The feedback on this series has been just astronomical. I didn't expect it to do this well, and you guys are absolutely loving it. So please like, subscribe, share with your running buddies. Love the pain, and yeah, 1 week to go. Let's get it.